Odell is going to a team where typically veteran receivers' careers go to die. But I love this move for Baltimore. Absolutely love it for Baltimore. Love it for Odell. Good for Odell. We heard $20 million at one point.
Right.
Then we heard reports about $15 million, and sure enough, he's getting $15 million guaranteed. He can make up to $18 million for 1 year. So my man knew his worth, and he held out for that worth. But here's the thing about Odell, and I don't have any inside information or insight into this, but here's what it seems like to me based on how we move through this situation. I don't know that Odell necessarily, even though he was hanging out with Lamar, he posted a picture of his son in the Lamar jersey, he had Lamar FaceTime. I'm sure the isndia of Lamar isn't of itself, is playing with Lamar is in and of itself attractive to Odell. But I don't know that Odell cared as much about who his quarterback was, as much as he cared about whether those checks was cashing and whether or not he had opportunity to be some team's number one wide receiver. Because if it was about playing with a certain quarterback, he'd probably be a Chief right now, he'd be a Cowboy right now, he'd be a Bill right now, or he would have waited to see if Aaron Rodgers ended up with the Jets and taken whatever the Jets were going to give him. Instead, reportedly, he gave the Jets a chance to match the Ravens offer, okay? But he ends up in Baltimore, and it's a good spot for him. He doesn't have a whole lot of competition to be the alpha dog in that wide receiver room. Mark Andrews is the number one target, but as far as wide receivers, OBJ should get his pass attempts. But good for the Ravens because, A, we just had a debate about the Ravens as an organization and how they do business.
Yeah.
And I think what this speaks to, Michael, I don't know if this is if it's a definite that Lamar is back. We'll see, because we don't know what Lamar is going to do. Lamar may still say, I'm not playing under a 1-year franchise tag. Who knows, right? Only Lamar knows that. But the reason I say good for the Ravens is this is another example of how the Ravens, even if they have not shown themselves willing to give Lamar Jackson the fully guaranteed deal he wants, they've always shown themselves willing to spend money, and they've shown themselves willing to construct a roster that supports Lamar Jackson's talents, whether that's offensive line, tight ends, running back room. They've structured their organization to fit Lamar in a way that other teams haven't had a chance to do and may not be willing to do. And last but not least, hey, the money ain't going in his pocket, but they will spend to upgrade his supporting cast. So if you're the Ravens, this was the home run. If Odell is even close to what he was when we last saw him in the Super Bowl with the Rams, B, it shows you willing to spend in general, but B1, willing to spend on Lamar and his supporting cast. And C, hell, maybe Lamar says, you know what? I got an opportunity to play with Odell. Let's go make a run at this ring, even if I can't get my money quite yet. So I love this signing all around. What about you? How you feel about it?
Yeah, I hear you. You said it's a home run. It's an extra base hit. I don't want to call it a home run.
Okay.
It's an extra base hit for the Baltimore Ravens. It's a difference between, not only the difference between a double and a home run, it's the difference between Travis Kelce throwing out the first pitch.
It's a stand-up
difference between it's the difference between Travis Kelce throwing out the first pitch and Megan Thee Stallion throwing out the first pitch. Okay.
Is that big of a difference? That's a big difference. That's a huge difference.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's a big difference. Because I'll tell you why. Everything you said is true.
At least a stand-up double. At least it's a wall double off the monster and Fenway.
Great. Wall double, nice. But you don't get paid off of wall doubles.
Or Camden Yards, as the case may be.
You might get $18 million. You might get $18 million with incentives off the wall doubles, but you get 30 to 40. You get Aaron Judge money by hitting home runs. And so everything you said, I agree with, and that's why it's only a double. You said Odell Beckham Jr. was more about securing his future and getting that check than it was the quarterback throwing to him. And so I agree with you. Oh, I think the same thing. I had the same thought.
Yeah.
That's why I hesitate. I kind of cringe when you call them teammates. I'm not sure they're going to be teammates. And for the very reason that you just laid out, I think Odell Beckham Jr. and Lamar Jackson share the same mentality. I am out here to get what I'm worth. I have been devoted to certain teams in my career, and I've seen teams just kind of turn around and flip me for what was best for them. That happened to Odell Beckham in New York. He signs a new contract with the Giants, and they flip around. Remember, Dave Gettleman was like, hey, we didn't sign him to trade him. And then a month later, 2 months later, he traded him to Cleveland. Same thing with Baltimore, Lamar Jackson. I think he saw, not sees, he saw himself as a Raven. He thought that maybe they would come to play a different negotiating game with him after Deshaun Watson. I understand why the Ravens didn't want to do it, but Lamar Jackson says, well, this is what I want. And I think he is also going to do what Beckham just did, which is take the best deal that's available to him, and that may or may not be in Baltimore.
Available.
But I'm starting
available.
to think that it won't be in Baltimore. I don't think it's going to be in Baltimore. I think we'll find out. We'll find out this month.
You and I are teammates. Right? But we also don't have to necessarily be perfectly aligned when it comes to business decisions. I mean, just kind of bringing people behind the curtain. When you and I went through our contract negotiations with NBC and Peacock, obviously you had yours, I had mine. We obviously communicated on it, but what each of us has to do for ourselves, we respect that. It's like, hey man, handle your business, do what you got to do for you and your family, that and the other, right? Likewise, I think they can be boys and hang out at Live and FaceTime and love each other.
Love it.
But they don't necessarily have to end up teammates. That's why I said we don't know what Lamar is going to do. I don't think Odell was going to Baltimore to only play with Lamar. He was going to Baltimore to get his money and to be the number one receiver for whoever is the quarterback. But playing with Lamar would be nice. But if you're the Ravens, you bring in Lamar's boy, you upgrade at receiver, which, ain't saying much, but you bring in a guy who, even though he's older, we believe if he's fully healed, can still be an impactful player at a position that is not a premium position. Now, I know Greg Roman is gone, but the way you've typically been constructed on offense, wide receivers have not been the focal point. Where he could...
I respect the hell out of Odell Beckham Jr. I do. I respect him. Are you sure? Are you sure that he's a number one receiver? Are you sure about that? Okay.
On that team, he is. With all due respect, Rashad Bateman. On that team, he is. With all due respect to my man that
Bateman, signed, please do. Some people say, don't at me.
With all due respect to Nelson Aguilar, okay? Like, he is the number one. Okay. That's part of the reason why he went there. He is the number one guy. He's the alpha in Baltimore. But in terms of the future, look, if you're Lamar Jackson, and he may decide to sit. Okay, that's just speculating, right? But ultimately, like we talked about last week, you are cutting off your nose to spite your face if this is the hill you choose to die on when it comes to a fully guaranteed contract, given all the money he's already left on the table. And lastly, and I know we're about to hit this break soon. Lastly, again, Chad Steele, for those that don't know, Chad Steele is the Ravens PR guy. I am not the Ravens PR guy, okay? But I think them spending this kind of money on Odell further proves my point last week that there's a difference between they won't give Lamar Jackson the contract that he wants, the fully guaranteed contract he wants, and they're being cheap with Lamar Jackson. There is a good deal on the table that Lamar just doesn't want to sign, and that's his right.
How many people were willing to give Odell Beckham Jr. this kind of deal? It makes me wonder.
Apparently nobody.
I don't know.
Apparently nobody.
Yeah. Maybe the Jets.
Not even the Jets.
Maybe the Jets.
Said no.
I don't know. So is it the Ravens having vision that no one else has? Or is this look, I'm happy for I like Beckham. I've kind of grown to appreciate him.
Your son's name is Beckham. One of your sons.
Well, that's it.
Not named after Odell, but still, coincidence.
That's right. So, okay, that's it. But I would say I've come to appreciate OBJ, the guy after Cleveland. I don't feel good about this though. I don't think it's a great deal for Baltimore, and there's a
1-year deal.
I know.
It's a 1-year deal. They ain't getting they married to it.
Is this year not important? Is a year not important? I mean, you said they've upgraded at wide receiver.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe
what they had.
Maybe this.
Yes.
Maybe this solidifies the future of Lamar Jackson in another way. Not draws him closer to Baltimore, but has him saying, "This lets me further know I need to go in another direction." Even though it ain't personal. It ain't personal. It's just business.
I think it's a great deal.
Else.
What they got to lose? They got money burning a hole in their pocket. It's money well spent, you ask me. It's an investment.
Games.
Lamar Jackson actually recruited. Now, we saw them partying at Live. We saw that video, but he actually recruited Odell Beckham to Baltimore, and hence the celebration. And that, according to Ian, this is all according to Ian Rappaport from NFL Network, and he says that Beckham has a quote-unquote clear understanding that Jackson will, in fact, be the quarterback throwing to him this season. So, Connor, early on, I said this is a home run signing for the Ravens because even if they don't spend money, they don't put the money directly in Lamar's pocket. They are showing once again that they're willing to spend money on Lamar and upgrade his supporting cast. If you're telling me that now this was done in concert with Lamar, even if indirectly, I mean, this is money well spent. To me, overpaying triggers me. Because, like, it's always people on the outside telling you that you overpaid for something that you want. If the Ravens paid Odell Beckham more money than anybody else would, but it helps him keep Lamar Jackson even if it's for a season, this feels like a great signing for the Baltimore Ravens, assuming that Odell Beckham has something left. But he's certainly better, with all due respect, than what they already have in that receiver room.
Yeah, and it doesn't pigeonhole them in this draft where they have to take a wide receiver at 22 anymore. And I think you could be reaching at a wide receiver at 22. So now you get an established veteran that seems hungry and ready to return. And finally, now you're showing your hand in a couple ways here, guys, for Lamar Jackson in the belief of him growing as a passer. You hired Todd Monken, who loves to air the ball out to all three levels of the field, notably the deepest part of the field. So he'll be calling plays, and he'll look to be a more pass-happy, explosive play caller. And then you go get Odell Beckham, who fits that identity as well. Now you got to find a way to keep Lamar Jackson happy financially. So I don't think he should play on that $32.5 million franchise tag number, whatever it is. If they need to find a short-term answer to get him on the field this year, then do it. But no, I don't. I think Lamar Jackson should be getting at least if you could find a Band-Aid deal here on both sides that allows Lamar to hit free agency in 2 years with no franchise tag limits, and he'll still be 28 years old. He'll have a ton of value, but the Ravens get a shot at a Super Bowl in these next 2 years with him.
I love it.
Hey, Connor, real quick, I'm curious, how you feeling about our bet about Anthony Richardson? I know you still got him. You mock him at number 4.
Michael.
Oh, is that right? You never felt better?
You seen all these Arizona trade rumors? Listen,
I
if
know,
Arizona moves out of 3, they want to.
Who they coming up for?
Who
they coming up for?
Yeah, who are they coming up for? And then if the Colts are stuck at 4, the Colts, Chris Ballard cannot take a non-quarterback in this draft. He would be insane. And his one
second round, as Michael Smith said when we were talking about tackles, there's more than one round to the draft. So maybe he takes a quarterback in the second round, not the first round.
Yeah, the success rate on those has been really good over the years. You can count them on one hand, essentially, at this point. So, listen, they could do that. I don't even think Hendon Hooker makes it to the second round, by the way. He could sneak into the back end of the first.
Really?
So, you're getting into an ugly tier and once you get out of day one of this draft. So, I think we're getting quarterback in those top 4 picks.
Wow.
Yeah, look, if the Cardinals have their way and somebody trades up into that 3 spot, they seem to be putting out the word that it's a hot spot for them. Maybe the Colts move up that 1 to get the guy they want. Hey, Connor, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, brother.
Great talking to you guys. Take it easy.
All right, Connor, thank you. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.